Hi friends. If you want to check out the collaboration between myself and Kelsee Briana BAE checking out our unfavorite favorites, then please keep on watching. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Alicia. Thank you so much for coming. And if you are returning, then thank you for coming again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups on the daily, then you can head over to my Instagram. If you don't know Kelsee, well, I will put all her information down below. Kelsee is an amazing human who was so kind to reach out and ask if I wanted to collaborate with her. Anytime people ask me to collaborate, I'm like, really? So I was honored that she wanted to work with me, and we were bouncing back and forth with ideas, and she brought up the idea about makeup OGs, products that we've used the longest. And I said that's interesting because I was thinking about OG products that I haven't used in a while but I still consider favorites, but they've been replaced by current favorites, much like the makeup you guys bring up. If you're like, what happened to that bronzer, what happened to that foundation, I'm like, oh my god, you're right, what happened to her? That's what we decided to do, and you know how witty Kelsee is on favorites. And I'm like, perfect, done, let's do it. So I will put all her information down below. Kelsee is an amazing YouTuber who is also a makeup artist and whose opinion I value highly. I always look to her input and insight with a lot of makeup and new releases because it's always interesting to find out her take on these items. So if you haven't checked her out already, please head over, and thank you, Kelsee, so much for wanting to work with me. I really appreciate your generosity and willingness to collaborate with me, and I can't wait to see what your unfavorite favorites are. So let's get started. But before that, why don't you come in a little closer? That's enough. Face is bare, and I wanted to start out with something peculiar, maybe not like, oh, why would she start with that? I want to start with hello, excuse me here, an unfavorite sunscreen that I highly recommended many a time. She's been through it all, but this is the NEOGEN. I actually still use this. I've run out, but because I have so much sunscreen now, I just didn't rebuy it because the vault is full, okay? I wanted to mention this because this was the amount I was putting on. That was it. And no wonder my hyperpigmentation felt like it was taking forever to fade, because this is not enough sunscreen to put on your face. You know how much it really is? This much. Actually, 2 fingers if you want to get real covered. And that's why I also recommended the pharmacy green screen. I highly recommend it as well. Of course, it didn't show up white and casty because I wasn't putting on enough. So this might actually show up a little white and casty, but I never noticed it because I wasn't applying enough. Newsflash, this is how much sunscreen you should actually be applying on your face on a daily basis. Right now, I'm using the Beat Shield, which is one of my all-time faves, and I recently picked up the Ultra Sun 50 tinted honey from the Helsinki airport in Finland while I was there. Got the Mista suggest that you apply like layer by layer, so I really should have applied like half a finger first and then go in with the other half, because that will ensure that it absorbs and doesn't leave anything behind. But you kind of see once you take your time in rubbing it in, but notice that I'm not over rubbing. I just need it to kind of settle so it's not looking white-ish on my face. I think the white cast tendency is largely due to the inclusion of titanium dioxide in this formula. That is usually the culprit ingredient in leaving behind a white cast, but even that amount I felt did not leave anything behind. This is very moisturizing. It's actually marketed towards dry, sensitive skin, which I could have during the winter time. So this actually I will probably finish up because I do enjoy the sunscreen still, even till this day. What the con is that it does contain fragrance, most notably lavender oil, which could be very irritating to many sensitive skins or skins in general that don't take well to essential oils. So ideally I will let this settle down a little more so it could create that film on my face, but we have only so much sunlight to record with, so let's go. My unfavorite favorite foundation. which I would still use, but the reason I haven't been is because with my current sunscreen obsession, I was reading that the less manipulation you create when applying your foundation, the less likely you will leave behind or have spotty protection. So that's why I've been using liquid foundation with my beauty sponge, pouncing on the liquid foundation so it does not move my sunscreen, which means that I haven't been using my Hourglass Vanish stick in a long time. This was my OG, and it still is. I consider this to be one of the best foundations still on the market till this day. I have the shade Warm Honey, which is, well, I don't know actually, because I have honey with the new Vanish liquid, but let's see how this looks. I'm gonna put that on. It might be a little warm for me, but I could get away with it because I have other shades here to kind of adjust the color a little bit. So I don't actually like to blend out stick types of formulas with sponges, so that's why I would go in with a brush. This is my Wayne Goss Synthetic 24S fan brush, but man, oh man, it's like falling in love all over again. But because of these motions, I feel I'm dismantling my sunscreen shield. This is not the most ideal method to apply your foundation with if you have sunscreen on, because you don't want, again, to leave behind spotty protection. But I feel this is just the best finish in terms of using a cream formula when it is blended out with a brush. Not bad, not bad. Oh, I gotta lighten you up. Where are you going? Where are you going? I definitely look a little too warm for my liking, but you know, what are you gonna do? You gotta go with the flow. I'm putting on more because I feel like I need a little more coverage. But this is such a beautiful formula. It's just seamless, smooth, buttery on the skin. It blends like a dream and leaves behind such a true skin-like finish, and you can definitely build it up to whatever coverage you want to see from it. I do have sand here just to kind of help lighten it up, so it's still in the same stick formula, but I just put it here under my eyes, not directly, just more so the greater under eye area. And then I can just do my fingers here. Yeah, man, that is my favorite foundation. I haven't picked it up for a very long time. Wow, being reunited feels so good. Favorite concealer. That is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I actually used the Tarte Shape Tape for quite some time before I found this at Ulta, but then everyone was like, oh my gosh, the Makeup Forever, no, wrong brand. Makeup Revolution is the new Tarte Shape Tape. Some people are like, yeah, some people are like, This is in the shade C10, which I used a crap ton of back in the day. Like, whoa. I would usually use a sponge for this, but I'm just gonna use my fingers just because I forgot to bring it with me. But yeah, I actually really liked this concealer. I don't think it has as much coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape. I mean, it does a really good job in covering mostly any dark spots under my eyes. Right now, I use the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric, which I think is just a little more, it's not that it dries down matte, but it's not as emollient as this formula, and I prefer that because I want it to set on its own without a powder. So that's that. It's, you know, I like the color, and I probably would just use this anyway because it's like, it's not a bad concealer, but there have just been so many complexion products ever since this release. I mean, in any category. Again, once I find a concealer that I love, I just stick to it for a very long time. That has been the Giorgio Armani, and now most recently the Shiseido. I love that stuff. Powder. Laura isn't a favorite. I think in general Laura is like just a standby, just never lets you down. If you don't have a powder, you're gonna use Laura. If you have her in the drawer, in the bag, wherever. It is getting so dark out. I am fighting against the clock. I used to bake the crap out of my under eyes, but right now I'm just using light tapping motions and it just gets it matte so fast. Wow, I haven't used this in a long time. People say that the Laura can be drying. I feel it can look dry if you bake with it, but the way I'm applying it with this brush, my Sonuji Inochike Pro. I think it's a great way to apply it so it doesn't look super heavy under the eyes. It looks matte as heck, but you know, not too bad. I also would use this powder to lightly set because my face is feeling very emollient just because I didn't wait for the sunscreen to dry down. So I'm going in with the Laura to set the rest of my face. And this is the Sonuji Soft Cheek, which I know is out of stock. I am so sorry. Didn't mean to say that and to make you have FOMO. Okay, I have 3 favorite bronzers. The ELCIE bronzer in tan, the Makeup Forever Pro Fusion bronzer in 30M, and the Becca Cosmetics, what is this? The Ipanema Sun. Love these freaking bronzers. And the standout one from the 3 is definitely ELCIE. ELCIE's bronzer was like the first one up until that point that I was like, wow, this is so beautifully creamy and it's a powder. I didn't understand. So let's take a little bit of that and I'm just gonna, oh my god, so much bronze. I haven't used this in a long time. Man, it packs a punch. Like, look at that bronze. Oh my gosh. A little bit on the forehead. Wow, I might just use this again. It's been a while, but I love the color. It gets you real bronze real fast. I forgot to do this. That's why I don't use cream products, because I always forget to put them on before I start my face. Favorite creamy highlighter is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Soft Light. I have this in 2 colors, 30 and 40, I believe. 30 is like the more gold. And right now, what I use mostly is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade number 3 for the highlights. I love Charlotte's, but it's just so big and not as travel friendly as the Makeup Forever. But I love the Makeup Forever formula still because it's so lightweight. And even here, as you see, applying over powder, it still blends out pretty nicely, I gotta say. Although I would rather use a sponge to blend this out, but even with fingers, I feel it leaves behind a nice, smooth, seamless finish, don't you think? I used to use this all the time. I still think this is a phenomenal formula. You know what I mean? Like, it still has beautiful texture and light, which leads me now to show my favorite highlighter, the Christian Dior. This is still, I feel, a favorite amongst many. So although an favorite to me, I don't think across the board. But I also used to love the Makeup Forever Pro Fusion highlighter. This is in 01. This gelée baked type of formula, even with the Dior as well, I just feel it makes it full proof. It makes highlighter full proof. So I'm taking the Makeup Forever and I'm putting it on top of the, whoa, that's a little icy, but that's still pretty though. Let's go in with the Dior. This is in shade 03. I'm gonna quickly go in with that so we could see the difference. That's really pretty and shiny. Wow. I'm running out of so much light. I'm like kicking up the exposure for every freaking frame. I gotta say though, using the MERCIER for my under eye powder definitely would have to spritz because she could look a little dry. Favorite blush, the Marc Jacobs. This is in 502 Lines and Last Night. I still consider this a phenomenal formula from the Marc Jacobs line. Definitely one of the more standout products. I adore this like duo type of thing going on. You got 2 colors in 1 compact. I feel there are like 4 more shades from the blush line, but the coralness and peachiness of it, I just love. It really does give a nice flush to the cheeks. Definitely have to spritz because I feel like I'm looking a little dry. This will forever and ever be a favorite, no matter when during the year. Oh, much better. Definitely much better. Favorite eye primer is definitely the P. Louise base. It was funny, in the comments I was asking Mel what she thought between the Anastasia primer and this one, and we both agreed that the P. Louise is a little more creamy and doesn't dry down as like soft matte as the Anastasia, which I prefer This is a little more creamy, and I understand why people might look for that stick. But for me, I rather a primer or even concealer dry down more on the matte side, because I appreciate that stick, but I want that drier consistency just so that some shadows don't catch on those creamy spots, because depending on the formula, it could look very splotchy if the base doesn't dry down. I think the P. Louise could dry down to more soft matte finish, but I just don't have the time. Okay, I need this to dry down fast. And another character of the Anastasia is that I think it dries down faster than the P. Louise. Favorite eyeshadow palette, I mean, that could be a video all on its own, is the Urban Decay Born to Run. This was one of the best palettes I think they've ever released. It's so comprehensive in terms of the color story and the textures here. You can create a number of looks with this palette, and I used to use this all the time, and I was like, we gotta bust it out again for the video. So going in, let's see, I want to do like a magenta something. Go in with Hail Ride. I'm a lot more confident with my blending now, so I would never go in with the medium shade first. Like usually I would go in with the transition shade first, and then I'll build from there. But now, you know, with my brushes, I'm like taking on all these challenges. But the P. Louise ain't bad. Like, I'm, you know, on this now, and I can see why I used to wear it all the time. Certainly an advantage the P. Louise has over the Anastasia is the fact that the P. Louise comes in several shades, whereas the Anastasia just comes into that one shade, and it could look quite light, but it'll be nice if Anastasia comes out with different skin tones for the eye base. That would be great. Now let's take this melon color here. I'm gonna use that to just carefully blend out the outermost border of Hellride. And to deepen the outer V, I'm taking the Refer brush in 15. The one that I used initially was the number 16, because a smaller, denser brush will build up the saturation on those portions of my lid without necessarily having to use another shade, so we can build it up. I gotta fix these eyebrows, honey. You know, I don't have, well, maybe I do, I just don't have it anymore because I haven't been buying it. It is the Benefit pencil, but not the Goof Proof that I've been using extensively. It was the Precisely My Brow. I used to use Precisely My Brow a lot before I moved on to Goof Proof, because I was just more comfortable at the time using a thinner brow pencil to shape my brows. Now I've become used to the like triangle shape, so it's interesting, yeah? Hellride under the lower lash line. This is our Refer number 1. Girl, smoke it. Let's now go in with the metallic shade. I definitely want to now, let me see. I want to do this color. I know I could go in with Wild Heart, but I just like the bronzy magenta look. You know what I mean? Gonna pop that coppery shade right on the center. This is a Sonia G Builder 3. And of course, with any metallic or shimmer that you encounter, wetting the shade will make it more foiled, more shiny. Why not? Let's then go in with Wild Heart, same brush, but more so on the inner part of the lower lash line to really make that pop. If this is too much, then you could definitely use a pencil brush instead. If it drops too much, using a shader brush, but I like it when I look a little sickly. It's just my preference. Pencil brush now with, let me see, I'm gonna do Blaze. As if it's a tutorial, but I just can't help myself. I always like to instruct even when I don't have to, because you never know. Maybe we could have a tip or two, you know? This is a Refer pencil brush in 03. Ooh, Blaze is nice because it has a pink shift to it, so it ties in quite nicely with the magenta matte that we applied first. All right, we're looking good. Now, funny enough, my favorite mascara was the Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof, but it has since been replaced by L'Oreal's Voluminous Lash Paradise. I simply just don't have the Too Faced anymore, so just for the sake of, you know, getting my lashes back up from all that blending, I'm applying the Lash Paradise, which I was so happy to discover that I loved, because replacing the Too Faced mascara was getting a little expensive, because mascara for me, since I wear makeup mostly every day, does not last very long. And to constantly drop 20 something dollars, I mean, even if I bought several during any of the Sephora sales that happened throughout the year, it was just like, for mascara, I couldn't do it anymore. As far as lash curler, I don't know if I used it back when I started YouTube and getting heavy into makeup. I used to use the Shu Uemura a lot, like a lot. But now I've been using my Shiseido eyelash curler, which I much prefer. A makeup artist friend of mine, Dottie, was saying how the Shiseido is more suitably designed for almond eyes, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So that's what I've been sticking to ever since. I think I'm going to grab another one actually in any upcoming, or maybe I should just order it from the Friends and Family sale that's happening. Shiseido.com right now. Let's get into lips. I don't have a lot of favorite lips, but I do have a lip gloss that I used to use all the time. This was the beige lip gloss of my dreams before For Real came into my life, and that is the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in Fantasia. This was such a beautifully beige, still is actually. I really love the color of this lip gloss. Not my favorite applicator is a brush applicator. I rather use a doe foot, but it's a really nice color. I really enjoy this shade even still, so I had to bring it in for the video. So here's the finished look, friends. Let me know what you think. It was so much fun to use products that I haven't used in a very long time, especially with my new brushes. I mean, if I really wanted to get into it, I would have used my favorite makeup products with my favorite, well, they're not really favorites anymore, still, brushes. Interesting, because powders that I might have used before that I didn't use today now because I was like, oh, I didn't really like how it looked, I really love how it looks now because I use my Sonia brushes. I always ignored the fact, although I insisted on using Laura Mercier powder under my eyes heavily, that it always looked dry, but I ignored it because I thought that was the thing to do since I saw that everywhere on YouTube. But now that I applied it with my NEOGEN Pro, which just leaves behind the most beautiful finish, is like, I could use Laura Mercier today, tomorrow, and the next day. Very interesting. Like, it looks smooth on the skin. It doesn't look dry whatsoever. And that also goes for all the complexion cheek products that I applied thereafter. Even using the, now we're a little too bright, hello. Even using the Laura all over my face, I think it's still okay to do so. This is crazy. There's not much I can say about the Hourglass Vanish stick. I think, again, like I said before, one of the best foundation formulas out right now. Even with all the new foundations that have recently released, I think that still stands up on its own as such a great foundation. Just the portability, the ease of use, the fact that it's so emollient but lightweight. It doesn't look heavy on the skin. You can build up the coverage. I can't say good enough things about that foundation stick. Oh, I forgot about the Makeup Forever Soft Light Cream Highlighter. I think it just sets up for a beautiful glow when topped with a powder highlighter. The Urban Decay eyeshadow palette, amazing. Like, I should use this more often. What's wrong with me? And it just goes to show when sometimes you're going through your makeup collection and you run into items that you used to use all the time, and it's like I miss them. It was so much fun to go back into the past, if you will, and bring out products that I used to use all the time, that I used to love and still love in a way, I guess, because with learning how to apply makeup better on myself, I've become really keen and aware of different textures and formulas that I prefer over others. And it all comes with experimentation. It comes with photographing and seeing your skin with that powder and this powder and kind of evaluating what products work best for you. What I loved before, like 2 years ago, is not what I'm gonna love now. Or maybe I think it's great to flip the perspective. Again, I applied my Unfavorites with my brushes, and now the love rekindled, and I probably will incorporate some of these items back into my heavy rotation because I'm most surprised. And Kelsey, you could tell me what product, if you do encounter one in your unfavorite favorites, that you might put back into your current favorites. Like the Lure powder, I am just shocked as to how smooth it looks when it used to look so dry and heavy because I used to apply too much of it back in the day, but it looks so nice when I apply it with my Sonia brush. The bronzer I probably could have applied less of, and I really still love the blush color. The pinkiness of the highlighter I think is cool, but I much rather have it more gold tone. And the lip gloss I'll just use, you know, because I can never have enough lip gloss. And that is it, my friends. Thank you for joining me on my unfavorite favorites video. Let us know what your unfavorite favorites are, products that you've used extensively before but they just got pushed away, and now with the influx of new makeup that maybe you forgot about them and you use them again, you're like, oh, I still love this. And a huge thank you again to Kelsee for collaborating with me and helping to come up with this idea. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can do something else again because it's just so much fun. And yeah, until then, friends, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channels. And until then, I'll see you here again with another tutorial, review, favorites list, or unfavorite favorites list. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.